Girls, this is my favorite thing to do all year long, okay? And I've been doing it for a long time. In fact, I just talked to the girls in the upper school who probably look like adults to you. And some of them weren't even born the first year I started doing this. Okay, so like seniors in the school, you know, first graders, second graders, third graders, fourth graders, all the way up to the seniors. I've done this every single year that they've been here. It's absolutely my favorite thing. And a couple of you mentioned that you've seen the movie, but what I really want you to do today, okay, I want you to kind of put the images of the movie on your mind, and as we read the book together, I want you to create your own images. What's beautiful about reading is that you use your imagination, and you create your own images. All right, so as we read this together, that's what I want you to do, is just think about what you see in your imagination. That's why I love this book. Okay? So,
I have the book and I've seen it on Disney.
Good for you. But again, I want you to think just with your imagination. Don't even think about the movie part of this. The Polar Express, written by Chris Van Allsburg, and illustrated by him as well.
That Allsburg is the hospital that my papa.
Okay. On Christmas Eve, many years ago, I lay quietly in my bed. I did not rustle the sheets. I breathed slowly and silently. I was listening for a sound a friend had told me I would never hear. The ringing bells of Santa's sleigh. There was no Santa, my friend had insisted, but I knew he was wrong. Late that night, I did hear sounds, though not of ringing bells. From outside came the sounds of hissing steam and squeaking metal. I looked through my window and saw this standing perfectly still in the front of a train, standing perfectly still in front of my house. So here he's waking up. Waking up.
I see, I know. Well, I didn't see that picture.
He looks out.
I didn't see that picture. No, the other picture.
Yeah, he looks out and sees that. Okay? It was wrapped in an apron of steam. Snowflakes fell lightly around it. A conductor stood at the open door of one of the cars. He took out a large pocket watch from his vest, then looked up at my window. I put on my slippers and robe, just like us, all right? And I tiptoed downstairs and out the door. "All aboard!" the conductor cried out. I ran up to him. "Well," he said, "are you coming?" "Where?" I asked. "Why, to the North Pole, of course," was his answer. "This is the Polar Express." I took his outstretched hand and he pulled me aboard. Yeah, I think so. The train was filled with other children, all in their pajamas and nightgowns. We sang Christmas carols and ate candies with nougat centers as white as snow. We drank hot cocoa, as thick and as rich as melted chocolate bars. Outside, the lights of the towns and villages flickered in the distance as the Polar Express raced northward. Okay.
Wow. Oh, I see a wall. I can't see. I can't really see that well.
There you go.
Just sit on your knees because no one's behind you.
Yeah. Soon there were no more lights to be seen. We traveled through cold, dark forests where lean wolves roamed and white-tailed rabbits hid from our train as it thundered through the quiet wilderness. Okay.
I saw the train on the mountain. I didn't get to see.
Here, it's right there.
I didn't get to see.
We climbed mountains so high it seemed as if we would scrape the moon. But the Polar Express never slowed down. Faster and faster we ran along, rolling over peaks and through valleys like a car on a roller coaster.
Sit down because awesome!
Whoa!
I can't see it. I see it.
There you go.
The train is long.
The mountains turned into hills. The hills to snow-covered plains. We crossed a barren desert of ice, the great polar ice cap. Lights appeared in the distance. They looked like the lights of a strange ocean liner sailing on a frozen sea. "There," said the conductor, "is the North Pole." The North Pole was a huge city standing alone at the top of the world, filled with factories where every Christmas toy was made. At first we saw no elf. They're gathering in the center of the city, the conductor told us. This is where Santa will give the first gift of Christmas. Who receives the first gift, we all asked. The conductor answered, he will choose one of you.
I'm going to give the gift to me.
Okay, well we're going to wait until we talk about the story. Look, shouted one of the children, the elves. Outside, we saw hundreds of elves. As our train drew closer to the center of the North Pole, we slowed to a crawl, so crowded were the streets with Santa's helpers. When the Polar Express could go no further, we stopped and the conductor led us outside.
Where are the elves? Right there and right there. I can't see the elves.
We're going to have a vision check on some people. We pressed through the crowds to the edge of a large open circle. In front of us stood Santa's sleigh. The reindeer were excited. They pranced and paced, ringing the silver sleigh bells that hung from their harnesses. It was a magical sound, like nothing I had ever heard. Across the circle, the elves moved apart and Santa Claus appeared. The elves cheered wildly. He marched over to us and, pointing to me, said, "Let's have this fellow here." He jumped up into his sleigh. The conductor handed me up. I sat on Santa's knee and he asked me, "Now, what would you like for Christmas?"
A toy ship, a toy bell, a bell. Yeah, the bell. The bell.
I knew that I could have any gift I could imagine. But the thing I wanted most for Christmas was not inside Santa's giant bag. What I wanted more than anything was one of the silver bells from Santa's sleigh. When I asked, Santa smiled, then he gave me a big hug and told the elf to cut a bell from a reindeer's harness. The elf tossed it up to Santa. He stood, holding the bell high above him, and called out, "The first gift of Christmas!" A clock struck midnight as the elves roared their approval. Santa handed the bell to me and I put it in my bathrobe pocket. The conductor helped me down from the sleigh. Santa shouted out the reindeers' names and cracked his whip. His team charged forward and climbed into the air. Santa circled once above us, then disappeared in the cold, dark, polar sky. Now we'll have to see what happens.
He lost the bell.
Well, we want to wait. We want to wait. As soon as we were back inside the Polar Express, the other children asked to see the bell. I reached inside my pocket, but the only thing I felt was a hole. I had lost the silver bell from Santa Claus's sleigh. "Let's hurry outside and look for it," one of the children said. But the train gave a sudden lurch and started moving. We are on our way home.
Gonna be his present.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
The bell is in the present.
We'll see. It broke my heart to lose the bell. When the train reached the house, I sadly left the other children. I stood at my doorway and waved goodbye. The conductor said something from the moving train, but I couldn't hear him. "What?" I yelled out. He cupped his hands around his mouth. "Merry Christmas!" he shouted. The Polar Express let out a loud blast from the whistle and sped away.
Merry Christmas to all.
On Christmas morning, my little sister Sarah and I opened our presents. When it looked as if everything had been opened and unwrapped, Sarah found one last box behind the tree. It had my name on it. Inside was the silver bell. There was a note. "Found this on the seat of my sleigh. Fix that hole in your pocket. Signed, Mr. C." I shook the bell. It made the most beautiful sound my sister and I had ever heard. Well, my mother said, "Oh, that's too bad." "Yes," said my father, "it's broken." When I had shaken the bell, my parents had not heard the sound.
Because they didn't.
As time went on, most of my friends could not hear the bell. But as years passed, it fell silent for all of them. Even Sarah found one Christmas she could no longer hear its sweet sound. Though I've grown old, the bell still rings for me, as it does for all who truly believe. So I think we have something, don't we? For all of you.
Hot chocolate.
Yes, and a bell is kind of a celebration of Christmas and Hanukkah and all the things we celebrate.
Two colors.
Yeah, well, each one's going to be
Right,
one.
put it around your neck. It'll ring around your neck.
Yeah. See, all of us hear them. I hear it.
Green.
I hear it.
Because red is kind of pink, so I don't want it green. I got my favorite